All right, we're recording and we're live. All
Hey,
right,
Cal.
how you doing, Kat? How you doing?
You know what? I'm good. Just got back from the gym. I'm ready to chat about things we've learned. Get started.
Gosh, I'm very excited as well. Very interesting course we have here. It's different from all the courses that we took so far. This engagement between the students, it's like, the course it speaks for itself. It's inclusion right there. So
Yeah,
interesting. All right, so we have an interview right here, and this interview is between two individuals, important individuals, hopefully in the future.
I think
Okay.
so.
All right. Care to introduce yourself, please?
Totally. So my name's Kat, short for Catherine, and I am a second time student. So I went to college. Oh my God, I'm going to age myself like 12 years ago, maybe. And I graduated with a BA in communication studies. I've spent the last decade of my life working in the nonprofit field, working in marketing and communications. So I worked for a Cecil Hospital and then a desert museum, and then most recently, my childhood zoo. So I love to hustle and make money. And so I drive for Uber Eats, and they reached out to me a couple of years ago and they were like, "Hey, you've done so many rides. So do you want a 4 year degree to ASU?" And I was like, "Of course. Like, why?" Even though I was already in my career, like, learner. So, all that being said, I've played around with a few different majors. Like I went from graphic design to psychology to social work, and now I'm back getting my BS in nonprofit leadership just because that already plays to my strengths. So that's why I'm taking this class. So that's what I mean by I have a bit of a different, well, actually, I don't know yet. I'm making an assumption about you. I don't know. You could be a second time student too, but I feel like I have a different experience than a lot of students in this class.
That's so amazing. It's so interesting how we get matched here in this interview because I'm a professional. I've been working in hospitality for like 15 years or more.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And well, first of all, I'm Cal, and my legal birth name is Fujimi. So I was born in Japan, and then I was moved to Singapore. Then I lived between Jordan, that's in the Middle East, and then Malaysia,
Yeah.
and then all the way across the world to Canada, just, crossing
Wow.
all these beautiful places. I have families all over
Yeah.
the place. It's just, the more you see, the more you meet, the more your mind's going to be open to a lot of perspectives. It's so interesting.
Yeah.
In doing so, I've acquired a lot of skills, like languages. I speak 6 languages, and you know,
Like fluent?
I speak Korean, speak Japanese,
That's amazing.
Malaysian, Indonesian, Arabic, and English. So I just acquired. It's all like self-taught, and
That's awesome.
so when you have this kind of skills and you go to hospitality, they would say, "Oh, we welcome you, man, regardless of your background, regardless of your education certificate." Oh, man, if you have the ability to talk and
Hmm.
to be a decent human being, and you know how to do that in different languages, oh, they will love you. So I worked in like restaurants, I mopped floors, I cleaned dishes, and then I worked waitress, and then man, and then I jumped into hotels. I mean, I
Mm.
worked everywhere, waiter, front desk, home cleaning, housekeeping. Then I went to laundry just down in the basement. And then I became a manager in the front desk management. And then while I was working in hospitality and while working in a hotel, one of the guests approached me and he liked my services. He said, "How about you join us in the airline?" I was like, "Yes, flight attendants." And I worked for
Cool.
6, 7 years in flight attendants. I started junior, I learned the basics. I went to senior and then purser, like the chief. And then I had a group. I used to teach new cadets, new joiners, and new trainees. Man, that was fun. And then
Yeah.
but throughout that lifetime, I also didn't stop there. I went to technology. I love technology. I'm a nerd in technologies. It's just there's so much to learn on YouTube. There's coding, animation, there's blending, oh gosh, I love sketching as well. So I taught myself a lot of these stuff, and then I was like, okay, this is probably gonna have, a new tool that could help me leverage my lifestyle and get a better paycheck or something. I was like, okay. And then suddenly one day I got, a good income from doing video games. So I didn't stop doing video games. Oh my gosh, it was like the happiest moment of my life. Then I stopped working hospitality. I just decided to do my stuff, just continue what I do, travel, go college, and live my life. And yeah, it was interesting. It was interesting life, really. So it was interesting to know that both of us are experienced like professionals. We all work in different industries. It's incredible. So it's like the professor knows what's going on here, I would say.
Yeah, sorry. I think my internet, just
Oh,
for the professor watching, my internet has been spazzing and it just cut me out. So I missed like the end of that. But
it's okay.
we can wrap that up nicely by saying, that's really cool. But here's an example of like I made an assumption. Now I'm curious how old you are. I connected to my hotspot.
Oh, okay, okay. I think we're back now.
I'm ho I'm hoping that that's better, but that's so funny. We're similar in age. Like I wouldn't have assumed that.
Yeah, me too. Me too. But the way you speak, like you've been through life a lot. I can see that. I can see
Yeah.
the way you speak and the way your confidence. And yeah, I can see some similarities there. And yeah, I would definitely do that in you. Just it's incredible though. Professor knows, how to do things around here, how to run the business, I would say. Okay.
All right, let's
Let's
start
go.
because we both are talkers.
I know.
So
We gotta go into the deep of this. Okay, let's start with the questions. Want to go first, or do I go first? Which one do you want to prefer? Should I
you
go
can
first?
go first. You
Okay, all
you
right.
go you yeah.
Okay, let's go with first question. Can you help me first question, please?
Yes. So Cal, what dimensions of diversity have the greatest influence on your identity and how do those dimensions influence your beliefs, values, and choices?
Well, if I had to pick something, it would be my cultural background. Because, and as I said, I lived in so many countries. I lived in so many different cultures, and I lived those experiences. And that gave me some kind of, a first-hand, closer look into the world. It kind of influences the way I perceive people. So it's beyond labels like, it's a race or it's a nationality. And all that stories and values that each person have that I meet, what they carries, I would say this definitely guides my own choices and my own beliefs. Let's say, for example, I mentioned that I love hospitality, and I'm really drawn into this amazing hospitality industry. It's just because, you know, those beautiful, welcoming spaces for communities, which I think all of that is possible if anyone has the chance to experience living in so many, different countries,
Mm.
which I did. So yeah, it's probably hope that answers that question.
Yeah, no, that's great. It's definitely really interesting because you have such a diverse background. Like it's so cool. First off, I find the culture very fascinating. And this class has been interesting because
Mhm.
obviously, well, I guess it's obvious. Like I'm white, okay?
Okay.
So like this question alone is hard because I'm like,
Oh,
I don't have diversity. Like I'm a white person who speaks English, but I think it's really funny to me that I think like white culture is so boring. Like I think my own culture is so uninteresting, and I think it's a huge reason why I gravitate towards interacting with people from different backgrounds because like when I say the Japanese culture is very interesting to me, but not only that, it's like when I lived in Arizona, that changed my honestly, when I moved to Arizona, it changed my life and my perspective on so much because I was exposed to, different groups of people. Like I grew up very sheltered. Like I grew up in a
oh,
very religious environment
oh,
and
Okay.
and I am no longer a subscriber to that, but it definitely it was just such an incredible experience. Like I had so many growing moments there, where I had no perspective about, there was a very strong Mexican culture there. We were so close to the border.
Yeah.
There was a lot of there was a lot of activism around the time that I
Mm.
was there as well. So that was a really amazing experience. And now I live in Richmond and I just moved here like 6 months ago. And it's also super diverse, which is something I just love because once again, like I just don't I think what I've learned the most, and I don't even know if I'm answering the question at this point, but since I'm delivering right now, like doing deliveries through Uber Eats and like Instacart while I'm doing full-time school,
Yeah.
I see so much. I wrote my Praxis thing or whatever about this.
Oh,
I've never lived in a city that's so socioeconomically divided. Like it's crazy. I
ah,
mean, the east side versus the west side of Richmond, like it's a very distinct, like it's crazy. I mean, I shop for Instacart and I see the differences in the stores alone. Like, the east,
oh,
yeah, like it can be the same store, like a Food Lion,
yeah.
and the ones on the east side, they're like always out of stuff. The produce is disgusting. There's no carts. And then you go to the west side and it's like super nice. They have kombucha. Like, so it's just really,
Um,
it's been really interesting. But
mm,
just really, really quick, going back to what you said,
okay.
I think I haven't like been that interested to dive into my culture because once
Oh.
again, I'm just like, well, because I'm like, I'm just like, what is there to dive into? Like, I mean, I know that my mom's side comes from Czechoslovakia, which I think is cool because
Oh.
I am interested in that because I definitely feel like I've seen, this is so stupid. I've like seen other Czechoslovakian women and I'm like, huh. I was like, I kind of feel like I have
Okay.
that look maybe.
Oh.
But anyway, so that's kind of how I feel about that. And I know that's an odd way to phrase it. I think because I'm white and I live in a place that is so diverse, just the United States in general. Like
It
we're a
is.
melting pot.
It is.
So I think what's been really cool and rewarding for me over the last 10 to 15 years of my life has just been I have become so aware, and I'm not saying this in a woke way. It's just like I've become so aware of my own privilege just by interacting with other people and, like things I don't even think about. Even just
Uh,
reading some of the students' blogs, I'm like, I never experienced those things. So I don't know, but we can move on to the next question. All right. So, Cal, what experiences have impacted your sense of belonging at ASU, positive or negative?
Well, it's a mix, all right? It's a mix of positive and negatives to me altogether. Well, for the positives, I would say I remember that time when I had my first week of classes here in ASU, and then as soon as the class finishes, the professor pulled me on the side. He says, "I hope you share more of your experience and that what was it again? Your perspective is like exactly what this course needs." I was like, "Wow." I wasn't expecting that, because usually in higher education environment, the professor is the one who gives out all their, perspectives, the infos, and then students have to, keep up and learn. So that little moment out there just, made me feel like, my background, it wasn't just different, but it was actually, valuable to some individuals. Another one is like, I had this interesting experience with student clubs through ASU, and then it was a what was it, international student meetup or something. But anyway, I ended up um, teaching a small group of how to say a few words in Japanese and Koreans and Arabic, And we all laughed and shared what we know, and then people kind of tried to pronounce a few words funny, and it was like, yeah, that was interesting. And it's kind of remind me of how my cultural mix isn't something that I should hide, but it's
Mm-mm.
something that can bring people together. That's the positivity of all that. Now for the downside, I would say, this kind of stuff doesn't work every day. There are times when there's a group project going on, and then I suggest something, an idea, and then it got brushed aside, and then later on, it got repeated by another student, someone else, and then suddenly it's been taken seriously. I was, oh my goodness, okay, but I don't think it's intentional, but definitely made me feel like an outsider for a minute there. So it's um, kind of made me realize that belongings isn't just being included in a community. It's just if you're being heard. Now that's a belonging. I would say. Yeah. How would that answers it though? I don't know. What about you? What do you
No,
say?
for sure. No, yeah. I mean, um, it's so true though, because I always say this to people.
Mhm.
It's the whole like listening thing
Yeah.
versus no, but did you hear me? Like there's
Yeah.
such a difference because I mean, if you're giving feedback about something, whatever it may be, and they're just like, yeah, yeah, whatever. And then there's such a difference between, or they're just like, oh, yeah, Cal, that's interesting, versus like actually listening to you and being like, wow, your perspective, I never thought of it that way, whatever it is. Yeah, so my perspective is a little bit different because
Mhm.
I'm fully online. So,
Oh.
and I live in Virginia now. I mean, I just chose I guess to be online because it made sense for me at the time when I started doing this. Like it,
Mm,
because I would just do a few classes here and there while I was working my full-time job. And then
okay.
it's just recently, well, since January,
Oh wow.
that I decided to do like full-time. But
Mm.
it's it's tough too. And I don't know if this is just me being whatever, but I think there's a part of me, I'm trying, I'm like, okay, don't curse or anything. I there's a part of me, I think because I've already been through college that
Mm.
I have no desire to like get involved in the community because I'm just like
Oh.
I I know. And what's interesting to me is like I like online projects. I like online stuff, but I am very social even though I spend a lot of time alone. I mean, I love spending time with people, but I'm also very, I think, picky about who I choose to spend my
Ah.
time with. Like, especially as I've gotten older, I'm like, you're not that interesting. I'm like, not you. I'm not you, Callie. You're very interesting. I'm saying like
Oh
other
good. Oh good.
people.
Oh
I'm
good.
just,
Okay.
I'm just like, I'm like, I'd rather go hang out with my dog. Like,
Oh.
so anyway, my whole point about this belonging thing is I think with just fully online, it's really hard to feel like you belong to something. Like it's just tough. I mean, I know that the world, I feel like an old person. No, because I like remote work. Like my ideal work environment is actually hybrid because I
Mhm.
like to be in the office, but I also like flexibility.
Okay.
But I will say that there is a huge difference between having meetings in person and having them online. It's just a fact. Like the energy is different, so it is really hard to feel connected like virtually. So I don't feel a sense of belonging with ASU. And it's not ASU's fault. It's just me. I'm like, this is a really great opportunity. And well, I do like that we're the Sun Devils. Like, that's kind of fun. I'm like, devil, because of my religious background, I'm like, yeah, we're the Sun Devils. But yeah, so I think that answers the question. But it's
You
weird because
did.
but I will say as an online student, something that I
Yeah.
find helpful is stuff like this,
Mm.
or I took some Spanish. I took a
Oh.
Spanish class. Um,
So you're linguistic in a way, right?
yeah, I mean, so I lived in South Florida for a while
Okay.
and a different type of Spanish,
Oh.
but I like very like Cuban heavy, like Miami, like and
Mm.
and then I moved to Tucson. So like I've been around a lot of Spanish speakers and it's one of those things where I'm like, I want to keep learning. And so
Okay.
so anyway, I took a Spanish class because it was required when I was doing social work, blah, blah, blah.
Oh,
But
okay.
But it really, because I'm confident, like you said, but it pushed me out of my comfort zone because we had to have like, we had little meetings
Okay.
virtually and we had to speak in Spanish.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, which was cool.
Okay.
But I've noticed with the online stuff, if a teacher is really involved, then
Yeah.
there's definitely classes I've taken here that are online that have been really great. And then there's classes I've taken here that are online that I'm just like, this is stupid. Like I
I like that.
you
Okay.
hear
You're very
you
honest. I
hear
like
that,
that.
Ace? Well, it's tough too because I'm a communications person. So sometimes when I see like typos in the exams, I'm like, how
Ah.
can how can you expect the students to like when you can't even do the question yourself? Anyway, let's keep going because we're going to be on this forever. If
What is it?
okay, how do you describe the fit between your values and beliefs and those of ASU?
Well, I think if you go to the website, there's always screams innovation, and there's always they do always do that. But I really think that my values will line up quite well with ASU because, as I mentioned, if you go through the ASU webpage, it says they always encourage people for innovation. Also, I've seen a lot how ASU is being so into inclusion. They build in
Hmm.
communities, international students, and all, and they always think global, which is kind of interesting. If you're a student here in Arizona, a ground student, oh man, you're gonna have a lot of fun. There's a lot of regardless of age, they and they love to mingle with everybody. You're gonna have fun, a lot of fun, especially in Tempe campus. There's so much stuff going on there, and yeah.
So hot.
So, those values, I would say, they fit how I see the world, how I perceive the world. Just, I love how ASU, they always give students, so many ways to engage in terms of different cultures and all. If you go through, what was it called? Sun Devil Central. There's a website in our ASU hub, in our Canvas. You can go through that, and they will give you a huge list of very recent student clubs, international events, and then they have like trips, and it's a lot of things going on there.
Hmm.
They even have like a projects, like if you want to work on a project, they even give you like local, like sightseeing. You also go international, like Kenya or something, like Africa, Europe. It's so interesting, and it's all paid, so you don't have to pay anything. It's so interesting. Um,
What?
yeah, so that really kind of, that kind
How?
of is really like there's the TSA, I think it's called, yeah, Tourism Student Association. That's a club that is open for anybody who has passion to travel. I love traveling, so I love to go here and
Yeah,
there. So that's one place you really want to be there. And they have some kind of online perspective going on there, but I'm not sure though. I'm not sure how it works, but it's there. It's
I
there. So
know.
TSA is a
That's
thing,
cool.
really. And it's like
That's
there's
cool.
always there's always a place for growth. You're stepping out from your comfort zone, from your own bubble, and then you build those bridges and just overcome your differences. It's such a fun thing. Yeah, that's what I say. I was probably I would put in this question. What
No,
about
that's
you?
good.
What do you say?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of similar to you, but I
Okay,
mean, their whole commitment to, being responsible to the community is
okay.
really big for me. I think that's something that, I mean, that's a huge reason why I thought about changing well, I was doing
Oh,
my major to social work is the world is just so messed up. I think what the state of the world is not great.
oh,
However,
okay,
I don't feel, from my perspective, I
okay,
think it's nuts right now. However, I think that's a huge reason why I, like I said, wanted to change my major
okay,
because, the first 10 to 11 years of my career was all about animal conservation, which is so important. Like animals are important, climate change, all of that. Like,
okay,
woohoo.
okay.
I think I got a little burnt out on it and I've really been seeking like a job that is more community focused. Like that has been
Hmm.
a really huge thing for me lately and That's also been a huge thing for me, like moving to Richmond. I mean, I've been here about 6 months and I'm just now starting to like, I'm like, I should probably go and like meet people, because having a sense of community is really important. And I like that ASU has such a strong commitment to being responsible to their community, whether that's in Tempe or Arizona, or like you said, it extends internationally. And I think
Yeah.
that something that I really admire about like Eastern countries, I don't even know if it's a Eastern worldview. I don't know if this is the right anyway.
Eastern, as in Southeast Asia, as in,
Yeah, like I
okay.
feel I feel I forget what class I was in. I think it was sociology, but it's so interesting because so there's like I don't know if you've heard of this, like collectivism versus individualistic
Oh,
society. But a lot of the like Southeast cultures
mm,
of the world have a very collectivist mindset. Like it's very community driven, like family is very important, et cetera, et cetera. And then America was like founded on individualism. And I am a huge advocate for, individualism. And I think what I really admire about collectivism or
yeah,
collectivist cultures is that feeling of let's come together as a community to solve XYZ. And unfortunately, in my perspective, I've
mm,
seen, especially after COVID, like I saw the opposite here, like it didn't feel like a very collectivist mindset. It was more kind of like everybody for themselves. So I want to be part of like this is me being positive pants is I'm like, okay, like I want to be part of the change. I
okay,
want to feel like I'm doing something to help the community. So
okay.
it's interesting because yeah, it's been a thing for me recently. So I've just started looking for jobs again, like full time,
Mm.
but I'm being very choosy with what nonprofit I get involved in next because I'd really like it to be
Ah.
one where it's more of a human to human connection. What do others need to know about you to ensure that you feel comfortable, welcomed, supported, and respected at ASU?
I noticed that I thrive more when there's mutual respect. When I
Hmm.
meet, so thriving for me is like you're healthy, you're happy, and well-adjusted, and personal growth. Um, so that one way to put it. And then I would say I'm an easygoing. I'm an easygoing person, very open. I love all cultures, everything, the bad and the good. I mean, there's a history in that. And
Yeah.
acceptance is something I accept everything. When people shut me off or make assumptions, I know they're gonna do that. It's like I'm reading between the lines or something. If a classmate or a professor or a neighbor just came to me and showed some genuine curiosity, I would feel like I can bring my whole self, just put it there on the table and out in the open, and just engage with the community. I would say, not to brag too much. Okay.
This is what you require.
Exactly. This is how become what's it called? A decent human being. Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I'm aiming. That's what I'm always try to be. Yeah.
No, it's true.
What about you, Kat?
I
What about you?
mean, like I said, it's so different because it's online, but I feel you like I'll pretend that it's not online.
What about like in community, in your family, in your like life, socially? Maybe that would work better.
Yeah, I think it goes back to the whole, do you hear me?
Uh,
Do you see me? Because without going way too far down that rabbit hole, like growing up in such a legalistic, religious environment, I wasn't really heard. It was more, and you weren't really supposed to ask questions or
oh,
like,
really? So you
yeah, or
can
like
doubt, you can just, inquire.
not in the environment I grew up in. It was very much like this is the way. And so for someone like me, that just doesn't work well. And I think back then it actually caused me probably a lot of anxiety that I didn't even know what was going on. Like I was just like, why? But going back to that, because in high school, I was very popular, which is not like a flex because there was like 40 kids in my class. But I always felt like an outsider, even still, like even though I was well liked and had, lots of friend groups, I've always just been myself. And I've grown to love that side of myself, through therapy and then also just growing older, right? You gain perspective. And so I think for me, just to feel really comfortable is respect is big for me too. What actions have you taken or plan to take to share your strengths and communicate your voice at ASU? This may include roles, memberships, activity participation.
Oh, I'm doing a lot of like engagement with communities around here. I love Arizona. I love Tempe.
I
The
know.
people, the church, the neighbors are amazing. I mean, every Friday I just come around and ask my neighbors. They're all seniors. They work in the church as well. So I just,
That's
go
all.
with them to their houses. I cook a lot of food. So I just go, let's eat together. And just, every Sunday they do that. And they never buy anything. They never purchase anything on Sunday. They just go to church, come back, sit down with the family and talk. And so I just take a moment of that time and just go with them and just sit down with them, know each other better, and just exchange whatever we have, advices, financial advices. I mean, a lot of mortgage is such a big thing here in the U.S., which we don't have in the Southeast Asia. If you don't have the money for that, you don't buy it. That's what it is there. But here, wow, debt is a
Yeah,
big
debt.
thing. So, so yeah, that's something that I learned here is so interesting. So I'm trying just to give out my idea into how do you, get away from all this debt, and then I would say to them just be diverse. Don't get married to someone here. Go outside, see the world, travel, see someone. It doesn't have to be like somewhere far. You can go somewhere else, like in the US. It's as you said, USA is a huge
So,
continent.
some students may view education as a means to an end. This
Okay.
perspective influences a student's sense of belonging. Explore these views. What are the benefits and risks of engagement in the community?
Oh,
What
okay,
are the
yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. I get why some students see this, see college as you finish classes, get a degree, and get a job. I mean, that's all my classmates that I met. It was like, hey, I'm just here to get a degree, and they just bouncing off, man. I was like, hey, I mean, yeah, I get it. I kind of get it. Life is expensive. It's not cheap for everybody. Not everyone have the luxury to linger around in college. But for me personally, I mean, engagement within the communities, it's like a difference between surviving and actually, like, as I said, thriving. So on myself, I'm not a chef. I'm not a brag here. I'm not a really good cooker, but I
Okay.
love cooking, man. I love cooking so much. So in ACU, there's a cultural event going on there. It was on campus, in Tempe campus. A lot of students, they were bringing some, whatever you cooked in the house, you just bring it. And this is something from your own countries. So since I'm from different cultures, I brought a lot of different, a lot of Japanese cuisine, Korean cuisine. I brought some Middle East cuisine. So it was like so much interesting. So everybody was, trying this out, having fun. So for me, I didn't just, eat amazing food with everybody. I made friends in that community who I
Hmm.
still go out with. I still study with them. And it's been like what, a year and maybe more. And we're best friends. We're all best friends. And so I would say if I treated ASU as just classes, well,
Hmm.
I would probably missed out all these connections. But,
No.
there's a risk in doing that as well. I mean, we're putting ourselves out there. I mean, let's not be all positive all the time. Sometimes you got to be careful. I mean, you were probably going to stand it more than me than I did. I mean, you've been out there in the world, social work as well. Because I remember my first time I volunteered to ASU welcome event. I really didn't know anybody, so I was kind
Mm.
of worried. I was just going to stand alone awkwardly. By the end of the night, I was swiping, Instagram with people I never would have met otherwise. So that kind of moment reminded me that, belongings just, doesn't fall in your lap like that. I mean, you got to invest into it. You got to expose yourself a little bit. You got to go out from your bubble. You got to engage more. even if you meet some not decent human beings out there, but well, it is what it is. But
Yeah,
you know,
I mean that's going to be everywhere, but I think that college is it's such a good time to be in belonging. Like I remember I went to this small Baptist college in Tennessee for my first degree, and it was like in person and everything. It's exactly what you said. Everybody on the floor like knew each other, and then we studied together. And there are definitely, I mean, like, well, you kind of touched on this. It says sense of belonging protects us against distress. And it's true. Like,
okay,
if say we have an exam coming up, it's really hard. It's like statistics or something. So if I don't have community, it's like me and myself, and I'm just stressed out alone. Versus if I've got my study buddies or like whoever, just someone. That's something I like about certain classes I've done here is when they have Slack channels or something like that where you can interact with other students because it's nice to feel like you're in the trenches together. I mean, that's a real thing, you know,
yeah.
and so I think that can cause like a bonding and a sense of belonging that is really positive for people that are going through college. And I forgot the question.
Oh, it's about like education means to end.
Yeah, and I think I mean we talked about it though, you know, like the risk of engagement is really just putting yourself out there. But to me, that risk is so worth it. I mean,
Yeah.
I moved across the country to Arizona. I didn't know anybody, you know. It was such a life-changing move for me. And I don't know. I always just advocate for people to push themselves out of their comfort zone. Like, even though I'm not as well traveled as you at all, but I remember graduating from high school and I was like, I gotta get out of here. Like, get out of this town. It's not like I thought the town was terrible. It was more just I wanted more. You know, was
Mm.
like, there's more to see, there's more cultures to explore, there's more people to meet. And like now I'm just like, you need to travel more, Kat. Like
Yes.
I do a lot of traveling in the US. Like I'm a big hiker and at camp and
Mhm.
stuff. And so I've been to a lot of national parks and that's kind of been my travel, but I think I would really like to start doing more international stuff because
That's what I'm about to see. Just, maybe the first time you go would be, I mean, not Japan. Go,
it's expensive. Yeah.
yeah, go to Indonesia.
Mhm.
Very cheap and very beautiful. People are so kind. They love you. They worship you. It's very interesting. Very different culture than here.
That's
And
what that's what I'm saying though. Like I feel I gravitate more towards so I'm making assumptions, but like Eastern philosophy versus Western, really talking about like the world. But I just it's like I want to aspire to be more like Eastern culture. Like I feel, I mean, there's some things that, you know, I'm not a fan of, but there's also things that I'm like slowing down, like being intentional. Even listening to you talk about cooking and like how meals are really important and you find a sense of belonging, I
mm,
feel like that's a very like Eastern mentality that they talk about is
it
and
is.
it doesn't really translate over here. Like people, it's weird. It's very, yeah, it's interesting.
It is. I've had a lot of rejections. I made some foods, some very delicious ones, but they say, you're cooking food and you're bringing your own plates. I'm sorry, we can't eat that, man. What if it's like contagious? What if it's like dirty? Or okay, wow. So
Oh, people said that?
there are rejections here. Not everybody's good people, but I mean they're probably good, but they're not aware of the different cultures going on around. They thought maybe I'm just an American, a random American, just want to pop up my house, bring some weird food, probably gonna poison us or something. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
But honestly, if you want to risk, so to me, it's like, I want to build network. I want to have this confidence. I want to have memories beyond college. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna risk time. I'm gonna risk my energy, my mentality. But I think it's gonna pay off. It's always been a big risk.
It's interesting you said that because I think that that's something I can take like moving forward for me, just in my personal life of just trying to get involved in the community here is risking my time because, like I said, I'm very choosy about my time and I can often be, I'm just like, like even though I love chatting with people and stuff, it's just, but it's what you're saying, like there's meetup groups here, right? And I've been
Mhm.
looking at them and there's this one that it's like new to Richmond or something, and there's a bunch
Oh,
of members. And they do like I feel like monthly restaurant meetups. And I'm just like, yeah, I'll go to
oh,
something like that. Right. Low stakes. I can talk to anybody.
okay.
Even if I don't find anyone like, even if I don't find like soul connections, I think just even being in some sort of community is important.
Okay, we're down to the last. Okay.
We're down the last. How can ASU strategically be more inclusive to students within each dimension of inclusion?
Oh,
Psychosocial, relational, participatory, and organization. Here we go. Okay. The first dimension refers to participants' understandings about their relationships with other members within the group.
okay.
I feel like our class is doing a good job. I mean, there's a ton of students in this class, I feel like, but I will say with the
Mhm.
blog, I don't know about you, but I've like looked at everyone's blog.
Me too. I did that. Oh my gosh. I even
I mean,
saved the ones that are interesting. I just saved it there. I'm gonna bookmark that one.
you didn't say, you better save mine now because you know me.
Are you kidding? Yours is just like next to my ASU folder right here. I was like, oh,
It
this is my
better
partner. It should
be.
be interesting.
Yeah. Um, yeah,
Oh,
I've looked at everybody's, but I think that this class is doing a good job of
mm,
making us think about our identities and break it down. And I think it's good because it allows, if we're to interact with someone to kind of have an understanding of who they are as a person before we interact with them, so that there might not be
mm.
situations like you said with your food, where people are like, you weirdo, like you're gonna poison me. And it's like, no, I just made
That was a
some.
shock.
Okay, here's another area, relational dimension.
So it's kind of like of how ASU can be more relational, right?
Yeah.
Maybe they could put some kind of what is it called, like mentorship, you know.
Mm,
I remember there was a student like back during one of the events. He was like standing there, and I was approaching to him. He was casually just explaining how it research opportunities in ASU. We had like just 5 minutes. That's it. That saved me like a lot of confusion for so many months. And now, if there was like a formal like mentorship program going on there, oh man, it's gonna help everybody, including me. Like in life, even in life, not just ASU. In life, I've always I grew up without a father, and I grew up just with
mm,
my mom, and my mom was meant the world to me. And what I usually did is I usually go out and talk to elders. I mean, this is not
mm,
a Western culture in Southeast Asia. We usually do that. The elders usually sit outside the house. They're there all the time. You just pass by, say hello, talk to them a little bit. And if you guys like clicked and you become like, kind of friends, that forms some kind of mentorship going on here.
mm,
That person, they made it through life and he has so much experience, so much stories you can learn from them. And they just give you on a silver plate. You just listen and learn. And that's how I really usually go about my life and just grow with, instead of just me doing all the, initials. If somebody has everything ready, you just listen and learn. That's what I did, mentorship. I think Western culture, they don't have that right here. I'm not sure. Correct me if I'm wrong, though.
Culturally, I wouldn't say, yeah, I mean, people aren't like sitting out on their porch, like ready to dole wisdom out. It goes back to like, I don't know, like me wanting more to see more of that type of interaction in American society. And I just feel like it's something that has become so lost. Like people don't want to know their neighbors. Like it's
Oh,
crazy.
you're right.
Yeah, like I'm a friendly person. So like if I see some, I'm not like trying to get up in your business, but I'm like, hey, like, hey neighbor. And my one neighbor downstairs, she's super, I mean, we're actually like rescued her. She was on the ground
Oh,
outside. No, she was on the ground outside one day and I was like, "What are you doing?" And she'd like broken her leg. I had to take her to the ER. It was crazy. But there's a difference between that and then there's
yeah.
neighbors that I'll like see at adjoining, apartments or whatever, and I'll be like, "Hey," and they're just like, and I'm like, "Okay." So I think that that's something that has become a bit lost in our culture,
Oh,
specifically with social media. Because, like, I grew up, I think, in the best era. I mean, you did too. I feel like people are really craving connection, but it's like people don't really know how to do it anymore. Like, COVID really was tough on a lot of people. Anyway, okay, it is 10:30. We need to go. It's
oh
an
my
hour
gosh.
and a half. I'm exhausted.
Oh my gosh. I don't blame you.
No one
I don't
there's
blame you, Kat.
she's not gonna watch this whole thing. That's crazy. Well, it was really nice meeting
Me
you.
too. Me too.
And
It's
it was
incredible.